患者の運命は、俺が変える。
Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing very well. It has been a little while since the last discuss, and one of the main reasons for why I haven't really done discuss is just there hasn't been that many topics that I've been really interested in talking about, or even many events that I'm interested in predicting. But oh boy, this is gonna be a good one, folks. Oh yeah. Because Nintendo is holding another Nintendo Direct. Now, yes, we just had one a few days ago, but, well, there is a new bit of kit coming. That, of course, being the Nintendo Switch 2. And they are holding a Nintendo Direct for it in a few days' time, which I promise you there will be reactions, whether it be live on my Twitch or released later here on this YouTube channel. I don't bloody know. It'll all depend on what I'm in the mood for, and if I'm doing it with some mates sort of thing. But yeah, Switch 2, big direct, lots of stuff to talk about, and I am intrigued. So let's get to this little discussion. So basically, the focus for this is kind of what are we gonna expect? Like, what are we expecting from this direct? What sort of hardware we're getting? What sort of software we're getting? All that kind of thing. So, I think we need to start off with the kind of obvious thing here is, are we going to hear anything about performance? And the answer to that is no. Not really. See, here's the thing with Nintendo. They're not the kind of company to brag about the performance of a console. They're not. They're not willing to do that. Like, they can absolutely say that it's an NVIDIA chip, but they won't say that it has all this computational technology and that it'll run like 57 times faster than the PS5 and it'll cook toast for you in an instant. No. That's not Nintendo's style. Nintendo doesn't care about the performance. I mean, that was proven with the original Switch, when that chipset was even lower power than the Xbox One and PS4. And it was still impressive, though. Like, the Tegra chip in the Switch 1 was extremely impressive for what it was capable of. Like, NVIDIA put a lot of tech into that, so absolutely, with the Switch 2, there is going to be a lot of improvement. And I know a lot of people have been speculating how well it will perform. Now, Nintendo won't tell you, but I personally believe that it'll be on the same level as the PS5 and the Series X. I've heard a lot of people say it's PS4 Pro levels, but no, that's not how things work. Because here's the thing, the chipsets you can find in like the PS5 and the Series X sort of thing, they're like 5 years old, like almost getting to 5 years old. So realistically, those sort of chipsets would be going down in price, like very much so. And I could imagine a similar sort of chipset from NVIDIA now would be at that kind of price that Nintendo would want and wouldn't draw as much power, which is kind of the important part. And especially since this chipset will have all the fancy RTX features, like not just your ray tracing and all that, but also DLSS, which I think is going to be the game changer for the Switch 2 when it comes to getting PS5 level performance. Because, well, that sort of tech, the DLSS tech, that allows for a much better usage of the dynamic resolution that we've seen on a fair few Switch 1 games. I mean, look at Doom 2016. That game ran on a dynamic resolution. Hell, I believe Doom Eternal did the same thing too. So, honestly, Nintendo probably would be like, yeah, that worked for us. Let's keep using it. You know what? Fair enough. Like, that makes a whole lot of sense for Nintendo to want to use tech like a DLSS to help keep the performance up, the battery life up, and the cost down. And I mean, let's be honest here. If you think the screen on the handheld mode is going to be 4K, it's not. It is not going to be a 4K screen, people. Like, just know that. My guess is that it'll be a 1080p screen, handheld mode, with like your 120 hertz and all your fancy stuff on there. Probably not OLED. It's probably going to be LCD for this model, but still, 1080p screen, maybe 1440p if they really want to get fancy, but this is Nintendo. Like, the Switch 1 screen was 720p, so I think it is going to be 1080p here. And when it's docked, I think that's when it'll run at 4K. That's where you get your 4K from. Maybe not many games being natively 4K, although we're not exactly sure of that. But absolutely 4K output. Absolutely. Especially if there's going to be, like, more apps coming to the Switch, too. Like, especially video apps. I mean, all we really gotten on the Switch 1 was YouTube and Twitch, and I think they got rid of Twitch a while back. So, yeah, just YouTube at this point. And, I mean, YouTube is great. Having YouTube on this is awesome. I actually use it a lot for YouTube, but still, I think nowadays, if you want to be like a major player in the console space, you do need a lot of apps. And a lot of these apps now would want them to be available in 4K so that you can watch it in 4K on your big fancy TV. So, yeah, that's how I see it going. Like, I see PS5 level performance, 1080p screen, 4K TV output, all the fancy NVIDIA tech, but they won't really talk about the performance in the Direct. They'll probably just put a little disclaimer on the website being like, NVIDIA chipset. So, yeah, that's how it's probably gonna go. But we don't know. We don't know how that's gonna go, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. That's the best way to put it. We're just gonna have to wait and see how this all goes and how this all runs. That's a matter for Nintendo to deal with, but yeah, that's definitely a good point. So if the performance obviously isn't going to be the big drawing point for like the hardware stuff, then what's going to be the big drawing points that they'll talk about for the hardware? Well, I actually think it's going to be the new additions coming into the Joy-Cons this year, and there's a lot of big new additions this year. First things first, the C button. What does the C stand for?
I don't know!
Thank you, Lex Luger. Yeah, we still don't know what the C button does and what the point of the C button is. I mean, some people may think it's a capture button, but we already have a capture button. So it's like, well, what does the C do? What's the point of the C? I think we'll probably figure out the point of the C sooner rather than later, but that's a matter for Nintendo to deal with and for them to tell us. The other big thing that has been teased, actually, in this Direct, is the Joy-Con itself having some new extra tech, so that it works like a mouse. Which, I think that's actually great for the amount of shooters that are going to be on Switch 2. Like, obviously, it's going to come in handy in Fortnite. Obviously, that's like one of the big games that'll do well with it. Overwatch 2, absolutely. But, hell, even Doom. Like, Doom will be great with a mouse controller. But how comfortable is it really? Like, how comfortable is it going to be? Because the Joy-Con on its own, like, the Switch 1 Joy-Con, if you were to use in that sort of mouse configuration, it is definitely uncomfortable. So, if there's a mouse sensor on the controller, then how comfortable is it going to be? How nice is it to hold? That's a matter that we will probably find out sooner rather than later. And I do apologize if there are any jump cuts in this video. Just, it is what it is. But, yeah, quite honestly, that is definitely one of the things I am curious about, is how comfortable the mouse controller really is. And also, how do the Joy-Cons itself feel? Because this year, magnetic connections and all that jazz, which is great. That's actually a good improvement, because all those rails break. They really do. If you drop your Switch, those rails break. And it means those Joy-Cons get all loosey-goosey, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. I'm definitely curious to see how it all goes, but, well, it's not long to wait, so I'm definitely intrigued by that. But by far the big question everybody's got on their mind when it comes to this Direct is the software library. What are we gonna play at launch? And I don't just mean like the launch window, like the first few months. I mean launch day. Because let's be honest, the Switch launch day lineup was bad. Outside of Breath of the Wild, what really was there to play? I mean, first party wise, there was only 3 games. Breath of the Wild, 1-2 Switch, and Snipper Clips. And third party wise, there was fuck all. Outside of a Bomberman game and bloody Skylanders, there was not much. When you compare that to the Wii U, when, yes, Nintendo-wise, there was only 2 big Nintendo games, Nintendo Land and New Super Mario Bros., there was so many third-party options that you could play. Games like Mass Effect, Call of Duty, Batman, like, so many really good games. Assassin's Creed, like, that's the thing. First party wise, Nintendo can release like 1 game and everyone would be fine, but third party wise, you need to step it up for launch day. So, let's talk about the games, and that is the important part. So, yeah, first things first party wise, what first party games are we going to see? Well, first things first, in terms of like franchises I don't expect to see, Zelda's a big old maybe. Like, I don't see like a big new Zelda, but there was a Zelda game. I probably expect it to be more like a remake, more than anything. I think Ocarina of Time has needed like a proper HD remake for a long time, so yeah, that if there was ever a Zelda game, then it would probably be that, but outside of that, don't expect Zelda. F-Zero, probably not. Mother, probably not. A lot of Nintendo IPs are probably not going to show up here. Animal Crossing, Smash Brothers, probably not with either. Splatoon, definitely not. Although, I will say with Splatoon, that's probably going to be one that'll get, like, a free upgrade. But, who really knows? Yeah, first party-wise, there's not that many games I really can expect for, like, the launch here, but there are a few that we do know of, so let's go over them. First, Mario Kart 9, or Mario Kart 10 if you prefer, but it's 9, damn it. It'll always be 9. Yeah, they teased it in the whole reveal trailer, and I think that's the big launch day game. I think that's the game they're going to have at launch day. Because think about it. What's the one franchise that gets people to play a Nintendo system immediately? Mario Kart. Obviously. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That game sold like bananas. Like, it sold so well on the Switch 1. Even though it was just a port of a Wii U game, it sold extremely well. I think it's like the best-selling game on the Switch, and fair enough, the game's actually pretty good. Although, I feel like it's a bit slower compared to, like, Mario Kart Wii, but that's just me. But still, it is a good game, so I can see why they haven't done a new proper Mario Kart, like, in a long time. Like, over a decade at this point, if you don't want to count Tour. But, very much, I'm glad to see them be like, yeah, well, let's get out a new Mario Kart now. And let's get it a launch game. Because, let's be honest here, 8 Deluxe was a launch window game. 8 Deluxe came out as part of that launch window. So, very much, we've been waiting. And now I think the waiting will finally come to an end with this new Mario Kart. And I'm pretty excited. I'm excited to see how it plays. I'm excited to see how it runs. I'm excited to see what new features they'll bring into this. And I imagine there's going to be a lot of redesigns in this game. So the characters might look a bit different. So I'm a little intrigued when it comes to Mario Kart 9. But we're just going to have to wait and see. In terms of the big holiday title, though, that's interesting because there's a lot of speculation about a new 3D Mario game. And look, that would be great if we get a new 3D Mario, but I'm also a little bit concerned because 3D World was just bad. Like, Odyssey is a great game. Odyssey is a brilliant game. And I want this new game to be more like Odyssey with its gameplay style and not like 3D World. I can't stand 3D World. I hate that game. So, honestly, I think for Nintendo's sake, they need to nail this out of the park. But I don't know if this is going to be the holiday title. I don't know if this is the game that will draw people during the holiday season. Because you've also got Pokemon releasing this year. You've got a brand new Pokemon game releasing this year. Legend ZA. And honestly, I could see that being the holiday title. I really could, because it's Pokemon. Pokemon always sells well for Nintendo, so yeah. I realistically could see Pokemon being the holiday title this year. But who knows? That's a matter for them to really decide upon. Although, if there is a strong contender for a holiday title... Ooh, didn't want to get my words mixed up there, because this is an unscripted video. If there is a contender for a holiday title, I'm giving it to Metroid Prime. I'm giving it to Prime 4. I mean, look, it may be a bit more niche compared to other holiday titles in Nintendo, but believe me, it will sell like gangbusters, and I think it's smart to have that be the holiday title. Especially for, like, the mature audiences who see Pokemon on the shelves being like, I don't want to really play that, but then they see Metroid and like, oh, I'm sold! Like, Nintendo and mature games is something that doesn't really go along easily, but when they do, they nail it out of the park. I mean, Xenoblade, that's a very good example of that. The recent Zelda games, great example of that. Seriously, Nintendo and mature games just go hand in hand, so I am absolutely down for Metroid Prime 4. Will it be good? I don't know. But that's a matter for us to decide upon. And, of course, you do have the recently announced stuff for 2026, like Tomodachi Life 2 and Rhythm Heaven Groove. So, very much, there's a lot they could bring out here. And a lot of fan service for these old school Nintendo fans, but honestly, I don't care. Just show me what you got. Like, I'm intrigued to see what sort of first party stuff they have, but to me in particular, I think for the launch lineup, you need to go hard with the third party. And I think third party wise, this direct is gonna slap because there's many third party games that could realistically show up here. And to me, I think there are a few key studios that I think will have a big presence during the launch year for the Switch 2. Like, absolutely. And in terms of who those teams are, I think those sort of big publishers that will make up that first year will be Sega, Ubisoft, 2K, EA, Xbox, Square Enix, Bandai Namco, and Capcom. That's 8 publishers. That's a lot of publishers, but I think there's a lot of games that could bring out that people would really want to see on Switch 2's launch. I mean, let's look at some of the recent major releases that have done very well on modern platforms that I think will do extremely well on Switch 2. I mean, first, the recent Yakuza games. Like, there's been a lot of Yakuza games being released lately. And I can see Yakuza Like a Dragon being one of the ones that gets ported over. Maybe even live, well, not live, with Infinite Wealth and Pirate Yakuza. I could see the both of them getting poured over alongside of Like a Dragon to do like a complete Like a Dragon trilogy sort of set. I don't know if they would, but that's something you do kind of have to keep in mind with that franchise. So, yeah, I'm intrigued to see that one. Assassin's Creed Shadows. That recently just came out, and I absolutely could see Ubisoft porting it over to the Switch 2 as a launch game. Although, I could also see Assassin's Creed Mirage being the one that gets ported over first, as that one actually had a mobile phone port. Like, if you don't know, Assassin's Creed Mirage actually did get a mobile phone port for iOS. So, since that's sort of like a similar kind of chipset to the Tegra chipsets you find in the Switch 1, I could see the Switch 2 getting Mirage as that first Assassin's Creed game. But, you know what? That's a matter for Ubisoft to decide upon. But either way, I think that would be a great addition to the lineup. I definitely could see a lot of sports games making up the launch lineup. Not just like the enhanced versions of NBA 2K and EA Sports FC, but I could also see games like F1, college football, WWE, and PGA, and even Topspin potentially, all being ported day one. Now, WWE is probably the most unlikely, but come on, you know, as a wrestling fan, I want to see it ported day one. I kind of want to see that redemption after the horrorness of 2K18 on the Switch and the failure of Battlegrounds. So, yeah, it's gotta happen, guys. It's gotta fucking happen. I mean, another one I could definitely see getting ported over, especially, is like all the fighting games that have recently released. I mean, absolutely, Mortal Kombat 1 will get an enhanced version for Switch 2, because the Switch 1 version is rough. But I could absolutely see in the launch lineup games like Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, and even Fatal Fury Mark of the Wolves. I could see those games all being a part of that launch window, launch day lineup. I really could. But that's a matter for those sort of publishers to bring in. And another franchise that could also see getting some big ports is Monster Hunter. I mean, Monster Hunter Wilds has been doing extremely well on PlayStation and Xbox. So, I could see a Switch 2 port definitely happening. Not just for Monster Hunter World, but also Monster Hunter Wilds. I could see both getting ported. So, yeah, that's definitely one I'd keep an eye out on. GTA 5, yeah, that's probably one that'll be inevitably ported at launch because, I mean, this is Rockstar. They probably want to get away with doing one more GTA 5 port before GTA 6 releases. They would really do that just to piss off the GTA 6 fans. But then they'll probably announce GTA 6 would be coming to Switch 2 alongside the PC version. I could see that happening too, so definitely one to keep an eye out on. But by far, I think the biggest publisher that will show up during this whole direct is Xbox. And its two sub-publishing labels, Activision and Bethesda. I really could see a lot of games from those labels showing up at the launch lineup. I mean, Forza Horizon 5 that just recently got ported over to the PS5, so that's definitely a shoo-in for a Switch 2 port. Halo the Master Chief Collection, that's one that has been rumored a lot to be getting a port to other platforms, and I really could see that getting ported over as part of the Switch 2 launch lineup. Starfield. Rumors have been going around about a PS5 version, but I could also see them doing a Switch 2 version. I mean, Skyrim did really well on the Switch, so a similar sort of RPG game launching day one, that could also be smart. Even Fallout 76. I mean, the game's not great, but I could see that getting ported over too. And hell, one of the biggest new releases from Bethesda coming out very soon, Doom the Dark Age. It's 100% going to be a launch game for the Switch 2, because Doom and Switch has been associated together very well. Every single Doom game is on the Switch 1. Every single one. So I could see them being like, oh, Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 are getting a patch to make them run better on Switch 2. Oh yeah, and Doom the Dark Age is coming as well. I could see them doing that, absolutely. But by far one of the big ones everyone's been curious about, Call of Duty. I mean, look, I don't really like Call of Duty nowadays. I mean, the only reason why I got Modern Warfare 3 was because of the WWE content, which, seriously, how have you not done WWE content for Black Ops 6? I want to play as Rhea Ripley. But yeah, I 100% believe that Black Ops 6 will be a day one game. Especially since, when Xbox acquired Activision, one of the stipulations was that they would bring Call of Duty to the Switch. So, it's gonna happen for the Switch too. It is gonna happen. And, like, it's gonna really happen. I think that's, like, the definite one when it comes to all the big third parties. I mean, we can speculate on a lot of different third-party games coming over, but that is definitely one of the ones that is coming over as part of the Switch 2 lineup. And let's be honest, I could see them, and this is an interesting comparison to make, but I could see them doing what they did, what Bethesda did, and by Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus on Switch, where there was like a story so far thing at the start of the game to help catch you up on the story of Wolfenstein. I could see them doing that for Black Ops 6. So, like, a story so far thing for the Black Ops series. I could see them doing that. Because it's been a very long time since a Black Ops game has appeared on the Nintendo system. So, definitely could see that happening. Will it? I don't think so, but we'll find out sooner rather than later. For now, I am excited about this Direct. I'm excited to see what games we get, and I think it is going to be fun. So, yeah, 100% guys, you will see some live streams or uploads. I don't know what direction I'll go with it, but I will be live or not on the day of the Direct. And yeah, it is gonna be fun, so definitely check out my socials, check out all the pages I'm at, so you don't miss any of the Switch 2 Direct coverage. I'll tell you, it is gonna be a fun one. But right, thank you all so much for watching. It has been a lot of fun discussing here. And as I always like to say, I will see you all next time. Take it easy, everyone, and I will see you all whenever that may be. Janet!